The sun rose slowly over the plains of Veralia, painting the sky with soft orange and pink colors. The small colony of humans stirred to life. Children ran barefoot across the grassy fields, laughing as they chased each other. Farmers went to check their crops, and scouts like Mara prepared for their daily patrols. The colony seemed peaceful, a place where humans could live safely far from the dangers of the wild lands beyond. Mara was young but observant. Her brown hair tied in a loose braid, she carried her small pack and a light spear. She moved carefully along the edge of the forest, her eyes scanning the ground. The soil was soft, and she could see tracks, large, clawed footprints, unlike anything she had seen before. They were fresh, pressed deeply into the mud. Mara frowned. Something was out there, something dangerous, and it was coming closer. She ran back to the village, calling for Elder Toma. "Elder, you need to see this. The beasts, they are back. Their tracks are fresh, and they are moving fast." Elder Toma, a man with silver hair and kind eyes, looked at the tracks. "Mara, these are old paths. The beasts left this area long ago. You are too young to worry about ghosts of the past." Mara's hand shook slightly. "I am not imagining it. The footprints are new. They are bigger than any of our livestock and sharper than a hunter's knife." The elder sighed and shook his head. "We have lived here for many seasons without a single attack. Our people need peace, not fear. You will patrol as usual, but do not trouble the others with these stories." Mara left the council hall, frustration and worry mixing in her heart. She knew the tracks could not be ignored. The creatures were not gone. They were waiting, watching, and possibly planning their next move. That night, Mara could not sleep. The distant sounds of the forest felt louder than usual. Every crack of a branch made her jump. Outside her small hut, shadows moved strangely in the moonlight. She whispered to herself, "They are coming. I feel it." The morning brought news that confirmed her fears. A scream echoed from the outer farm. Mara grabbed her spear and ran toward the sound. Smoke rose from the fields, and she could see chaos. Farmers were running, trying to save animals as massive shapes moved through the crops. The beasts were enormous, taller than a man and covered with dark, rough skin. Their eyes glowed faintly, and their claws tore through anything in their path. Villagers scattered in panic. One man, Rilo, shouted, "Run! Don't fight them! Save yourselves!" Mara ran alongside the children, pulling some of the smaller ones to safety. She tried to focus on the path ahead, but the fear in their eyes made her stomach twist. The creatures were fast, moving with a deadly intelligence. They worked as a group, circling and chasing, cutting off escape routes. Mara realized that the colony had been living in a false sense of safety. The elders had dismissed warnings for years, but now the reality was clear. Survival required action, not hope. She led a group to a narrow valley where they could hide and catch their breath. The beasts roared in the distance, a sound that shook the ground and rattled bones. Mara's chest felt tight. While hiding, she watched the humans around her. Some were crying, others shaking, and a few stood frozen, unsure what to do. Mara stepped forward. "We cannot stay here. If we do nothing, they will take everything. We must move, we must plan, and we must stay together." A small boy looked up at her with wide eyes. "But Mara, what can we do?" "They are too big too. Strong." Mara knelt and took his hand. "We have our minds, our courage, and each other. That is stronger than any beast. We will find a way to survive." As the sun climbed higher, the beasts continued their hunt, tearing through fields and destroying homes. Mara led the group through the forest, moving carefully along hidden paths. She listened to every sound, the rustle of leaves, the snap of a branch, the soft hum of the wind. Every step had to be measured. Every decision could mean life or death. For The first time, Mara saw the true danger of Veralia. It was not just the beasts, but the feeling of being unprepared, the panic that spread faster than any predator. Humans had survived on many worlds before, but here, they had to rely on courage, intelligence, and each other more than ever. By nightfall, the group found a small clearing to rest. The forest seemed safer, though Mara knew it was only temporary. She looked at the stars, sparkling like distant fires, and whispered a promise to herself. "We will survive. We will be ready." That night, the colony slept uneasily, hearts beating with fear but also with determination. The calm of Veralia was gone. The hunt had begun. The sun rose over the shaken colony, but the peaceful morning never came. Mara and the others woke to a chilling silence. The usual sounds of birds and insects were gone, replaced by an eerie tension in the air. Smoke still rose from the outer farms, and the smell of scorched earth hung heavy. Mara tightened her grip on her spear and began moving through the village, checking on the survivors. The first reports were grim. Farmers had lost animals, and some homes had been damaged. But worse, Rilo, the brave farmer who had tried to protect the children, was missing. Villagers whispered nervously, fear spreading quickly. Mara knew that the danger was not gone. It had only grown stronger overnight. Suddenly, a loud, guttural roar echoed from the hills beyond the colony. It was a sound full of power and hunger. The villagers froze, eyes wide with terror. Mara took a deep breath. "They are not gone. They are coming back. We must move quickly." She led a small group to the edge of the forest where they could scout the land. As they moved, shadows flickered through the trees. The beasts were out in force, larger than the last time Mara had seen them. Their dark bodies blended with the trees, but their glowing eyes gave them away. They moved in packs, circling the open fields, hunting with precision. Mara watched carefully, noting their behavior. Unlike ordinary predators, these creatures seemed to communicate, signaling each other with low growls and body movements. They were intelligent and dangerous, far more than anyone had imagined. Mara realized that the colony could not fight them head-on. Survival meant strategy and speed. Meanwhile, panic began to ripple through the colony. Villagers ran in every direction, trying to gather what they could carry. Families shouted to each other, searching for children and livestock. Mara helped the elders and the young, guiding them towards safer paths she knew from her patrols. Every second counted. The beasts struck quickly. One of them lunged from the forest, its claws slicing through a fence and knocking over a small cart. The humans screamed and scattered. Mara raised her spear, trying to distract it, but the creature ignored her, focused on the fleeing villagers. It tore through the crops and then vanished into the trees as fast as it had appeared. Mara took a deep breath and shouted to the others, "Stay calm. Stick together. Don't run alone." Some villagers hesitated, paralyzed by fear. Mara grabbed their hands and pulled them forward. She led a group through a narrow valley where the beasts could not follow easily. The terrain was rough, with rocks and thick undergrowth, but Mara knew every step. As they moved, Mara spotted signs of previous attacks. Burned patches of grass, broken branches, and strange markings on the trees showed where the beasts had been. She realized they were studying the colony, learning how the humans moved. This was no ordinary hunt. It was a planned attack. Mara's heart pounded. If the colony did not adapt, more lives would be lost. The group reached a small clearing and paused to rest. Mara knelt and looked at the frightened faces around her. "We cannot fight them alone. They are too strong and too fast. But we are clever. We can use our minds, our traps, and our speed to stay alive. We must stick together and help each other." A young girl, barely 10, spoke up with a trembling voice. "Mara, will they come back here?" Mara placed her hand on the girl's shoulder. Yes, they will. But we will be ready. We will protect each other. Suddenly, a low growl came from the edge of the clearing. The group froze. A massive beast stepped into view, larger than any Mara had seen before. Its muscles rippled as it moved, and its eyes glowed a faint red. It sniffed the air, searching for humans. Mara raised her spear, ready to defend the group. The beast advanced, slowly testing the humans. Mara held her ground, standing tall and steady. She whispered instructions to the others, telling them where to hide and how to distract it. The creature paused, confused by their clever movements, then retreated slightly. It had not expected humans to think, to act as a group. Mara smiled faintly, knowing that even fear could be turned into strength. As night fell, the group found shelter in a small cave. Mara stood at the entrance, looking out into the dark forest. The roars of the beasts echoed in the distance, constant reminders of the danger outside. She knew the colony had survived the first attack, but the creatures would return, stronger and smarter. Mara sat with the children and elders, telling them stories of courage and survival. Her voice was calm and strong, a small light in the darkness. Tonight we rest, but tomorrow we plan. The beast will come again, but so will we. Humans are clever, humans are brave, and humans survive. For the first time since the attack began, the villagers felt a spark of hope. The panic was still there, but it was tempered with determination. Mara knew the real test was coming. The first contact had shown the power of the beasts, but it had also revealed the strength of the humans. The night was long and tense, but the colony survived. Mara stayed awake, keeping watch, listening to every sound. The hunt had begun, and the humans had taken the first step toward survival. The first light of dawn barely touched the tops of the trees when Mara woke the group. The forest was quiet, but she could feel tension in the air. The beasts had not stopped. Mara knew that staying in one place was dangerous. She gathered the villagers and spoke firmly. We cannot stay here. The beasts are hunting us. We must move through the forest and find a safer place. The group prepared quickly. Mothers gathered their children, men carried supplies, and Mara checked that everyone had their basic weapons. Spears, slings, and sharp rocks were ready. She led the way through a narrow path that twisted between tall trees and thick undergrowth. Each step was cautious. One wrong move could reveal their position to the beasts. As they moved deeper into the forest, Mara noticed signs of the creatures. Pursuit, broken branches, footprints pressed into soft soil, and faint growls echoed through the trees. The beasts were clever. They were not just chasing. They were tracking, predicting the humans' moves. Mara tightened her grip on her spear and whispered to the group, "Stay quiet. Follow my lead. We cannot let them surround us." The first challenge came quickly. A fallen tree blocked their path. Some villagers suggested climbing over it, but Mara noticed something else. Deep claw marks on the trunk indicated that a beast had recently been here. The group could not risk exposure. Mara thought quickly. She led them around the tree, using a narrow stream as a hidden path. The water hid their scent and muffled their movements. Hours passed, and the forest seemed endless. The humans grew tired, their legs stiff and their spirits low. Hunger gnawed at them, but Mara refused to stop for a full meal. "We cannot rest too long. The beasts will find us if we linger," she warned. She encouraged the children with gentle words. "You are brave. You are fast. We will reach safety together." Suddenly, a loud roar split the air. Mara froze. The beasts were closer than ever. She gestured for everyone to hide behind thick bushes and fallen logs. The creatures appeared, moving swiftly and with intelligence. One paused and sniffed the air, sensing the human's presence. Mara held her breath. The beast's glowing eyes scanned the forest floor. It tilted its head, then moved on. The humans waited silently, hearts pounding, until the threat passed. Mara knew that running blindly would only lead them into danger. She needed strategy. She found a narrow ravine with steep sides and led the group down carefully. The beasts could not follow them easily here. Rocks and roots made the path treacherous, but it offered safety. Children slipped a little, and Mara caught them each time, guiding them down with care. As they descended, Mara thought about the colony. Their homes, the farms, the people left behind, all were at risk. She felt a mixture of fear and determination. The beasts were powerful, but humans had something stronger: thinking, planning, and working together. If they stayed united, they could survive. After hours of careful movement, the group reached a small hidden clearing. Mara let them rest, though she remained alert. She scanned the surrounding trees, listening for any sound of pursuit. A few villagers whispered about returning to the colony, but Mara shook her head. If we go back, we risk everything. We must move forward and find a safer place. While resting, Mara noticed something unusual. Small tracks, different from the beasts, led into the deeper forest. They were tiny, careful, and deliberate. She crouched and examined them. "These are not the beasts," she said. "Someone or something else lives here. We must be careful." Night began to fall, and the forest darkened. Mara lit a small, controlled fire for warmth, careful to hide it from any predators. The group gathered close, sharing the little food they had. Mara spoke softly, trying to keep spirits high. "We are still alive. That means we can survive anything. We must trust each other and stay alert. The forest is dangerous, but together, we are stronger than any beast." Sleep came in short bursts, always interrupted by distant noises. Mara took turns keeping watch, never lowering her guard. The humans had learned something important. The beasts were not invincible. They were smart, fast, and strong, but humans had courage, intelligence, and determination. That was enough to stay alive. By dawn, the group was ready to continue their journey. Mara's eyes scanned the horizon. They had escaped immediate danger, but the forest was vast, and the beasts were still out there. She gathered the villagers. "Today, we keep moving. We must find a place where we can regroup and fight back if we need to. Do not give up. We will survive, and we will protect each other." The humans followed Mara into the forest, careful, alert, and determined. The panic of the first attack had faded slightly, replaced by cautious hope. They were not just running. They were learning, adapting, and becoming stronger with every step. The escape had begun, and Mara knew that the real test was still ahead. The humans had been moving through the forest for nearly a full day when Mara noticed something unusual. Small, strange creatures peeked from behind the trees, watching them. They were not like the beasts that had attacked the colony. These creatures were smaller, covered in soft fur, and had large, curious eyes that glowed faintly in the shadows. Mara signaled the group to stay quiet. "Do not scare them," she whispered. "They might help us." The creatures moved closer, cautiously observing the humans. Mara held out her hand, showing that she meant no harm. Slowly, the creatures approached, their tiny paws brushing the ground as they moved. One of them, braver than the others, stepped forward and tilted its head, studying Mara. She smiled softly and knelt down. "We are not your enemies. We need help to survive. Can you show us the way?" The small creature made soft, musical sounds and motioned toward a hidden path in the forest. Mara understood immediately. She turned to the group. "Follow me quietly. They are leading us to safety." The humans followed through thick bushes and over twisted roots, careful not to make a sound. The creatures led them to a series of narrow trails and hidden clearings. Mara realized that this part of the forest was full of safe passages that the beast did not know. She felt hope stir in her heart. These small creatures could be the key to survival. During the journey, Mara observed the creatures' intelligence. They set traps using sticks and stones to slow down any pursuers. They pointed out hidden dangers like quicksand pits and unstable rocks. The humans began to trust them, understanding that survival required working with the forest, not against it. The beasts were still out there, their roars echoing faintly in the distance, but the humans moved carefully. Mara taught the group to follow the creature's signals. A flick of a tail meant danger ahead. A chirp meant it was safe to proceed. Slowly, the humans adapted to the forest, becoming more skilled at moving quietly and reading signs in nature. By late afternoon, the group reached a hidden valley surrounded by tall cliffs. The small creatures guided them to a natural cave system that offered shelter from the beasts. Mara and the villagers explored the caves, finding water, edible plants, and hidden spaces for safety. For the first time since the panic began, the humans felt secure. Mara smiled at the group. "We are safe here, for now, but we must remain alert. These caves can hide danger as well as protection." At night, the small creatures gathered around the humans. Mara offered them some food from their supplies, and the creatures accepted it gratefully. The humans began to feel a bond with them. They were not alone in this fight. Mara spoke softly to the villagers. "These creatures are our allies. They know this land better than we do. If we listen and learn from them, we can survive and even protect our colony." The villagers spent the night learning from the creatures. They discovered hidden tunnels that could be used as escape routes and narrow ledges where the beasts could not reach. Mara showed them how to set simple traps, guided by the creature's knowledge. Each human realized that intelligence and cooperation could be as powerful as strength. As dawn approached, Mara stood at the cave entrance, looking out over the valley. The beast's roars echoed faintly in the distance, a reminder of the danger that waited. But Mara's heart was filled with determination. Humans were clever, adaptable, and resourceful. Together with their new allies, they could face any threat. Mara turned to the group. "Today we learn, today we plan, and tomorrow we act. The beasts are strong, but we have something they do not: teamwork, intelligence, and courage. Remember, we survive because we are smart and united." The small creatures chirped in agreement, as if understanding every word. Mara felt hope grow stronger. She knew that the colony had a chance, and that the humans could turn fear into strength. This hidden alliance was the beginning of a new strategy, one that could change the course of the panic hunt. The group spent the rest of the day exploring the valley and preparing for what was ahead. Mara instructed everyone to rest at intervals, to stay alert, and to observe the forest carefully. They had learned that moving blindly brought danger, but careful observation and cooperation offered protection. As night fell, the humans and their new allies settled in the caves. Mara kept watch at the entrance, listening to the soft chirps of the creatures and the distant growls of the beasts. The humans had survived the chase so far, but Mara knew the true test was yet to come. With intelligence, courage, and teamwork, they were ready for it. The hidden allies had given them knowledge, safety, and hope. Mara understood that survival was not just about running. It was about learning, adapting, and finding strength in unexpected places. With the creature's guidance, the humans would prepare to fight back, turning the panic hunt into a story of resilience and courage. The morning sun rose over the hidden valley, casting light on the humans and their new allies. Mara gathered the villagers near the entrance of the cave. "Today, we do not just run," she said firmly. "Today, we fight smart. We use what We have learned from our allies to protect ourselves and slow the beasts. Remember, our strength is in our intelligence and teamwork. The humans prepared for the counterattack. Mara instructed some to gather rocks, sharpen sticks, and make simple traps. Others built barricades from fallen logs and branches near the narrow paths the beasts were likely to follow. The small creatures moved among them, guiding hands and showing hidden weak points in the terrain. Their knowledge of the forest was invaluable. Mara led a small group to a high ridge overlooking the open fields where the beasts were last seen. From this vantage point, they could see movement in the distance. Large shapes moved through the tall grass, glowing eyes scanning the land. Mara counted at least 5 beasts, much larger and stronger than anything the colony had faced before. She signaled the others to stay quiet and wait. "Patience and timing are our allies," Mara whispered. "We strike together, not alone." She gave the signal, and villagers released rocks and sticks from hidden positions, rolling them down the slope to distract the beasts. The creatures snarled in confusion, their attention divided. Mara had studied their behavior. She knew that even small disruptions could force the beast to make mistakes. The first beast lunged toward a barricade, but it was trapped by sharpened stakes hidden beneath the grass. It roared in anger and pain, thrashing wildly. The humans did not attack directly. Instead, they used movement, noise, and clever tactics to confuse the beasts. Each time one creature advanced, a trap delayed it. Mara moved swiftly, guiding her team and keeping the animals distracted. The small creatures added their help in unexpected ways. They rolled stones, dropped small branches, and chirped warnings when a beast approached from a hidden path. Mara smiled at their courage. Even creatures so small could make a difference when working together. The humans began to feel confidence for the first time since the panic began. Hours passed, and the beasts grew frustrated. They circled, tried to break through the barricades, and tested every path, but the humans were prepared. Mara led the villagers in a careful retreat from one trap to another, each step planned. Every movement was a part of the strategy. The humans were not just surviving. They were teaching the beasts that they could fight back. One of the younger villagers, Kilo, became brave enough to test a trap near the edge of the field. A simple net, hidden beneath leaves, caught a smaller beast by surprise. It struggled, roared, and fell to the ground. Kilo's eyes lit up. Mara nodded, encouraging the others. "See? Courage and intelligence together are stronger than fear. We can do this." By late afternoon, the humans had driven the beasts back from the valley. They did not kill them, but they had shown strength and cleverness. The creatures had learned that the humans were not easy prey. Mara gathered the villagers, proud of their efforts. "This is only the first step," she said. "We have defended ourselves, slowed them down, and gained knowledge. Tomorrow, we will be stronger, and we will continue to protect our home." The villagers cheered quietly, a small but meaningful sound. For the first time in many days, they felt control over their situation. Mara knew the battle was far from over, but the humans had discovered a crucial truth. Survival did not depend on strength alone. It depended on courage, intelligence, and teamwork. That night, Mara and the villagers rested in the hidden valley, tending to minor injuries and reinforcing the traps. The small creatures chirped softly around the humans, a comforting presence. Mara looked at the sky, thinking of the colony and the people still at risk. She knew that defeating the beasts entirely would take careful planning, but today they had achieved a victory that mattered. Mara spoke to the group before sleep. "We have learned a lesson today. Bravery alone is not enough. We must use our minds and work together. The beasts are dangerous, but we are clever. Tomorrow, we will continue to protect our home, and we will survive." The humans and their allies settled for the night, hearts still alert but filled with hope. The forest was full of shadows and danger, but Mara felt a sense of accomplishment. They had faced the beasts for the first time and proved that humans could stand against them. As Mara kept watch at the cave entrance, she realized the truth of their survival. Intelligence and teamwork could overcome fear and strength. With courage and cleverness, they could protect the colony and reclaim their land. The first counterattack had shown the humans that they were not just prey. They were hunters, strategists, and survivors. The panic hunt was far from over, but the humans were no longer running blindly. They were learning, adapting, and growing. Stronger with each encounter, Mara felt determination burning in her heart. With her leadership, the courage of the villagers, and the help of their new allies, the humans would face the beasts again, and this time, they would be ready. The sun had barely risen when Mara called the humans together. The hidden valley had given them safety and time to plan, but she knew the beasts would return. "Today," Mara said, her voice steady and firm, "we end the hunt. We have learned their ways, and we know the land. We are not running anymore. We will face them together." The humans gathered their supplies. Spears were sharpened, rocks collected, and traps checked. The small creatures moved among them, pointing out weak spots in the terrain and hidden paths the beasts were likely to use. Every human felt the tension in the air, but also a spark of courage. Mara could see determination in their eyes. Mara led the group to a high plateau that overlooked the plains where the beast had been seen. From this position, they could see the movement of the creatures below. 5 massive beasts prowled, searching, their glowing eyes scanning for signs of the humans. Mara signaled the group to hide behind rocks and shrubs, preparing for the final confrontation. "Remember," she whispered, "strength alone will not win. We use our minds, our teamwork, and the traps we have set. Move together, strike together, and stay alert. We survive by being clever." The first trap was simple but effective. A line of hidden pits, covered with branches and leaves, caught one beast by surprise. It roared and struggled, giving the humans time to adjust their positions. Mara led a coordinated attack from multiple sides, using noise and movement to confuse the creatures. Rocks tumbled down slopes, sticks were thrown, and clever decoys were used to mislead the beasts. One of the humans, Lyra, bravely ran along a hidden path to distract the beast that had broken through the first trap. The creature lunged, but Lyra dodged skillfully, leading it into a narrow passage where it became trapped. Mara's strategy worked. The beasts were strong, but the humans were clever, moving as one. The small creatures added their help, guiding humans to blind spots and signaling when a beast was nearby. Their knowledge of the forest was invaluable, allowing the humans to anticipate the creature's movements. Every trap worked, every plan executed with care, and every human contributed. Courage and intelligence together became unstoppable. Hours passed, and the battle intensified. The beasts tried to regroup, but the humans anticipated their moves. Mara directed her team with calm authority, making quick decisions that kept everyone safe. Every human was alert, every eye watching for danger. Even the youngest villagers played a role, carrying small rocks to drop or helping to guide each other through difficult terrain. The largest beast, taller and stronger than the others, charged toward Mara's group. She stood firm, signaling her team to pull back toward a trap. The beast fell into a pit lined with sharpened stakes. It roared and struggled, but could not escape. Mara felt a surge of relief and determination. The humans were proving that they could defend themselves, even against the most fearsome creatures. By late afternoon, the humans had cornered the remaining beasts. The strategy of traps, decoys, and teamwork had worked perfectly. The creatures were exhausted, confused, and wary of the humans' cleverness. Mara led the final push, guiding the beasts into a natural enclosure formed by cliffs and dense trees. The humans surrounded them carefully, showing strength without unnecessary violence. When the beasts finally retreated, exhausted and cautious, the humans knew the battle was won. They had survived the final hunt. Mara gathered the group together, proud of their courage and intelligence. "Today, we have learned something important," she said. "The beasts are strong, but we are smarter. We survive because we think, we plan, and we work together. Never forget this lesson." The humans returned to the hidden valley to rest. They tended minor injuries, shared food, and praised each other for bravery. Mara and the small creatures moved through the area, checking traps and preparing for any return of the beasts. Though the immediate danger had passed, everyone knew the importance of vigilance. That night, as the sun set behind the cliffs, Mara looked at the stars. The forest was quiet, peaceful, and still. She thought about the colony and the journey that had brought them here. Fear had driven them to run, but courage, intelligence, and teamwork had allowed them to survive. Mara felt proud of the humans. Strength, not just their muscles, but their minds and hearts. The humans slept with a sense of accomplishment, knowing they had faced the greatest danger of the panic hunt and had survived. Mara stayed awake for a while, listening to the soft chirps of the small creatures and the distant, fading growls of the beasts. She felt hope and confidence. Humanity had proven that intelligence and courage could overcome any threat. The final hunt had ended, but the lessons remained. Mara knew that the humans would need to remain alert, always learning, and always working together. The forest was full of life and danger, but the colony had grown stronger because of it. The humans had faced fear, adapted, and triumphed. With the beasts pushed back and the hidden allies beside them, Mara felt certain that the colony could survive anything. The panic hunt had tested them, but it had also shown the power of unity, courage, and cleverness. Humans were not weak prey. They were thinkers, strategists, and survivors. And they had proven it on the plateau of Veralia. The forest of Veralia was quiet at dawn. The beasts had been driven back, their growls fading into distant echoes. Mara stood on a high hill, looking at the valley below. The humans had survived the panic hunt, but she knew their work was not over. The colony needed to be rebuilt, stronger and wiser than before. The humans returned to their settlement carefully, moving through hidden paths and keeping watch. They were no longer afraid to face the forest. Each villager carried tools, seeds, or small supplies salvaged from their journey. Children helped by carrying light objects, their small hands eager to contribute. Mara smiled at their determination. Even the youngest had learned the importance of courage and teamwork as they entered the colony. They saw the damage from the attacks. Fences were broken, fields had been trampled, and a few homes had been destroyed. But the humans were not discouraged. They quickly organized into groups. Some repaired homes, others rebuilt fences, and the farmers prepared the soil for planting. Again, Mara worked alongside them, showing that leadership meant sharing the effort, not just giving orders. The small creatures followed the humans back to the settlement. At first, some villagers were cautious, but Mara encouraged them to trust the allies who had helped them survive. The creatures moved freely among the humans, guiding them to areas where traps could be strengthened or hidden dangers avoided. Slowly, the humans and their allies formed a bond built on trust and respect. Mara called a meeting in the center of the settlement. Everyone gathered: children, elders, and the small creatures too. "We have survived a great challenge," Mara sighed. "The beasts tested us, but we learned to be brave, clever, and united. Our homes will be safer now because we work together. This is the true strength of humanity." The villagers nodded, feeling pride and hope. The panic hunt had taught them many lessons. They had learned to observe, plan, and trust each other. Fear had driven them to run, but intelligence and teamwork had allowed them to survive and thrive. Mara felt proud, not only of her own courage, but of every person who had faced the danger. Over the next weeks, the colony transformed. Fences were rebuilt with stronger wood and clever designs to resist the beasts. Farms were replanted with care, placing crops in protected areas. The humans dug hidden storage areas and reinforced their shelters. Every step of the rebuilding process was guided by the lessons they had learned during the hunt. The small creatures continued to assist, showing hidden paths and safe areas around the colony. Mara encouraged everyone to learn from them, to observe how they moved, and to understand the forest's patterns. Humans had adapted, and they were growing stronger because of it. One afternoon, Mara gathered the children by the edge of the fields. She told them stories about the panic hunt, emphasizing courage, intelligence, and cooperation. "You are the future of this colony," she said. "Remember what we learned. Humans survive because we think, we plan, and we help each other. Never forget this." The children listened carefully, their eyes wide with excitement. They had seen fear, but they had also seen bravery. They had learned that strength alone was not enough. Mara smiled, knowing that the next generation would be ready for any challenge as the days passed. Life in the colony returned to a new normal. Laughter and conversation filled the air again. Fields flourished, and homes were stronger than ever. The humans no longer lived in fear of the forest. They respected it, learned from it, and thrived within it. Mara stood at the top of the hill. One evening, watching the sun set over Veralia, the small creatures chirped softly beside her. She reflected on their journey, the panic, the fear, the chase, and the final victory. Humanity had survived because of courage, intelligence, and teamwork. The humans had proven that even in the face of danger, they could adapt, protect each other, and overcome challenges. The forest would always hold dangers. Mara knew, but the humans were ready. They had learned to use their minds, their courage, and their unity as their greatest weapons. Mara looked at the horizon, feeling hope and pride. The panic hunt was over, but the story of survival, intelligence, and bravery would live on for generations. That night, the colony rested peacefully. Stars twinkled above, reflecting the light of a future built on courage and wisdom. Mara knew the humans had not only survived, they had grown stronger, wiser, and united. The lessons of the hunt would guide them, ensuring that no danger, no matter how great, could ever destroy their spirit. Humanity had triumphed. The panic hunt had tested them, but it had also shown their greatest strength, the ability to think, adapt, and survive. And with that, the humans of Veralia looked forward to rebuilding a home that would stand strong, not just against beasts, but against any challenge that lay ahead.